Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pints and Politics. We're here. Where are we, Mike? We're at 12 Mile.
12 Mile Tavern.
Yeah.
Outside beautiful Swanville, Minnesota.
Yeah, we've been here before. This place is great.
We have this great burger.
Oh, yeah.
We have the special. We have chicken wild rice and a burger.
Classic.
You had
I had a
Sheboygan, right?
Sheboygan, sauerkraut, jalapenos.
Oh,
So you might catch it on my breath.
see, I got here late. I didn't even
delicious.
get these. But yeah, so we're out here. We're here with Scott Brodeen, and you're running for city council in St. Cloud, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
There's 3 seats up for grabs this time, and they're all at-large seats. So no wards, just the whole city.
Nice. That's awesome. So, yeah, we can hop into it. So tell us about St. Cloud. What's going on?
Well,
Why are you running, essentially?
I'm running because there's a lot up for grabs this time. We have the 3 city council seats, and there's 7 seats total. So nearly half of the seats are up for grabs. And the first time in 20 years, we have a mayor seat up for grabs. So a lot could change. And so I'm running to make sure that it's good change and not crazy change. Don't want to wake up in the future and see a city that we don't like, can't recognize, and know that hadn't tried to help.
No, that's fair. Yeah, so I've been watching St. Cloud go downhill for a little bit. Like I'm the youngest one here, but I know Mike over there he's been watching St. Cloud go downhill for a long time.
I love St. Cloud.
Yeah.
I went to college there. Started working down there. Met my wife there. We started our family there. And when my daughter was born, my oldest daughter, we said, this is no place to start a family. You know, when you're 20 years old, 21 years old, and go downtown and work at the bars and stuff like that, yeah, it was a fun town. But to start a family there was not the right environment. And I've seen it over the years continue that slide that is so concerning for an area that I love. Still got friends and family there, spend a lot of time in St. Cloud, and it's frustrating to see what's happened with the town. There used to be a lot of industry. We see that, and I'm not going to name a name, but there's a business that I used to work at where it was a family kind of business. You know, people worked there, their brothers, their sisters, their uncles, everybody worked there. Now you go to that business, and what do you see around it? Chain link fence with barbed wire around the top. That shows you what's happened in St. Cloud. And I don't think anybody on the outside wants to see that happen to the cities or that city, and especially a candidate running for city council wants to see that happen. So thank you for running. It's not an easy thing. Tell us what drove you to this. I mean,
A couple things. So when I found out that there were the 3 seats, then I was talking to my wife, and I said, well, I hope that whoever's in there, I hope that they listen to you, and I hope that they're blank, and I hope that they think blank, and I hope that, and I listed off a bunch of things. And then she said, why don't you just run?
Right.
And so
it's so easy. Just run.
It made a little bit of sense. I didn't want to because I'm just a normal guy. I didn't have political aspirations, but then I thought, you know what? So we have a special needs daughter, and I was at the mall probably 5-6 years ago when a lunatic went running through the mall with a machete and slicing up people, trying to. And we were there an hour before. And if we would have been there at that time, she wouldn't have known to run, even when I was saying, run, run, run.
Yeah.
So I carry all the time now. And if somebody wants to carry, great. That should be their choice. But you shouldn't have to carry it to
and
feel
that was at
safe.
the mall, right?
That was at the mall. Yep.
Yeah, so something I remember when I was getting my concealed carry license, the guy who was telling me about the St. Cloud Mall, how they have a human trafficking issue over there.
Oh,
Yeah, it's kind of like the movie Taken, if you've ever seen that.
sure.
They'd have a spotter and they'd find the young, vulnerable women, and then they just follow them out to their cars and just nab them. Yeah.
Little tidbit of history. So my grandpa, a long time ago, I don't even know what years it was, spent a certain portion of his youth in St. Cloud, where the mall is now was actually
Oh, really?
used to be swamp when he was there. And he told me stories about how they would go play in the Tamarack Woods, which is now the mall.
Yeah.
Yeah, mall area. And so that's how far back some of our history goes to St. Cloud.
Yeah.
But think about how much that town has grown, has changed. When you hear something like that, nobody wants to see that in their backyard.
No.
You know, we talked about on the VP debates, they talked about the school shootings. Well, that as tragic as that is, a knife attack in a mall in St. Cloud is just as disturbing.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. And that got very little publicity. I did not hear a lot about that
Yeah.
in the national
I
media.
vaguely remember that happening. And so, but it's in an area, it's St. Cloud. It's not a school. It's not guns. You can't really push knife control, can you?
Actually, I think they're talking about it in England.
Well, yeah, well, England. Yeah, so they actually have that in England. And you know what's going on in England right now?
Chaos.
Chaos. Well, even before that, they were boiling sugar water and throwing it on people. So if you boiling sugar water, you throw it on somebody's face, it sticks and it peels your whole face off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That was
That's something I hadn't known and almost wish I hadn't. But-
yeah, sorry.
So let's go back.
Not quite fun facts, but
We've got Scott's card here. Hopefully you can see that. Hold that up. And on the bottom, it says something that protecting family, home, and wallet. Explain that. How are you as a city council candidate going to protect family, home, and wallet?
Okay. Protecting family, home, and wallet, it is more than just a little tagline. So the family part is public safety. I'm a big supporter of law enforcement, of our fire departments, first responders. So what I can do as city councilman is make sure that they have what they need to keep themselves safe while they're doing their jobs, which is keeping us safe. So fully fund them, support them, be behind them, not like the hogwash that you see down in Minneapolis of
yeah.
not supporting police.
Well, yeah, we see the results of that. They have kids stealing cars and going 80 in a residential zone.
Right.
Yeah.
The carjackings, everything else. You don't want to see that coming to your city.
Yeah, that's dangerous, especially with kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's family. Home is kind of multifaceted. The first one is housing related. St. Cloud has over 50% rental properties. Not to demonize renters, but the stability of one's home leads to the stability of the person, which leads to the stability of the community,
Yep.
which is a good thing for everybody.
It's more of a vested interest when you have home ownership versus rental.
Yes. And, so you can plant your roots, or put your flag in the sand, So that's one aspect. The second aspect, just to play on the word home, but this also ties into the third, is we want more businesses to want to call St. Cloud home. One of you two mentioned industry leaving St. Cloud, and it has. There's no reason that it shouldn't be back or come back. We have a great central location, right on the Mississippi. There's plenty of room. So do things to bring business back, whether it's, I won't dive super deep here, but whether it's looking at, tip zones, tip districts. That's a thought. Some people don't like it, maybe think it's corporate welfare, but some is better than all of none. So, but when you have business and then you have jobs and then you have more income to dump for people to dump back into the local economy.
Yeah.
So that's the second part of home, which ties right into wallet, which is also kind of twofold. The first is just if we can, economic development. Bring in businesses, it's better for everybody, better for everybody's wallets. And the second part of that is fiscal responsibility.
Yep.
If we spend wiser, we can tax less or not tax more. I don't want to raise taxes. I don't want people to leave because taxes are going up and so.
Well, the issue with raising taxes, it just brings up the cost of living because you have less money to work with, and the cost of goods isn't going down right now. And if people can't live comfortably, if they don't have that economic development, they're gonna leave and find somewhere where they can live. Yeah. So, if you want somebody to, plant their flag, and I love that analogy there. I love that visual, and start a family, which is investing in your future and the future of a community. You need that economic development, and you need to be able to live. So you have good ideas there.
Well, and some of the cities too, and I'm not sure how St. Cloud is, but some of the major cities have additional taxes on top of the state taxes.
Yep.
And it makes it really tough for businesses and industry when they have to calculate even more of those expenses in, or even keeping track of that can be a nightmare. Heard it just recently from, I would say, an industry that when they have to keep track of the taxes because there's different codes, there's different areas. Every time they go someplace, it has to be different. And there was something that had to do with bullion. Actually,
Bullying?
no, bullion.
Oh.
Gold and stuff.
Yeah.
They don't want to send it into Minnesota because when all of these cities have different taxes, and it makes it a nightmare for those businesses in order to collect all the taxes and make sure they get paid. So they just said, we're not sending this stuff into Minnesota.
And that's that. And we've talked about this many times, how regulation kills things.
Yes.
If you have a regulation like that, that is going to kill business.
Right.
Here's a regulation killing things that I used at a forum that I had today. They were talking about housing and how what would you as a city councilman do to alleviate the burden on renters? And first of all, let the markets dictate things. But what I said was, less government is always the answer. If government comes in and starts demanding more and more and more of the landlords, that's not going to drive rents down. That's going to drive rents up.
Yep.
And I said that somebody just told me that half of the cost of a new home is due to increased government regulations.
I believe that. Because with apartment buildings in Minnesota, I think it's a current regulation, but they all have to have a drainage ditch for water runoff, when it rains, and it's got to go somewhere. It can't just go into a gutter or something. They have these big pools now. Have you seen those, Mike?
If you were talking about water retention ponds.
Yep, retention ponds.
Okay. It depends upon a lot of different factors. I was on the zoning board for a lot of years, and we saw some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I think the best comparison, and I think the Center of the American Experiment did it.
Okay.
They looked at a house in Minnesota and one directly across the border in Hudson. And if I recall correctly, the cost in Minnesota was $20,000 or $25,000 more because of regulation.
Yep.
So now we're killing our housing industry because people are saying, I can go build somewhere else cheaper.
Yep.
Why should I build here?
I've heard that. I was at a Center for the American Experiment where they talked about that. I have the exact numbers at home, but I think it was closer to 50,000.
Was it 50?
I think it was 48,000.
Okay.
Same house, same exact everything, square foot, same identical house.
So that slows down housing, or it adds to the cost of housing, makes it more unaffordable.
And less people want to live there.
That's right. When it's so hard now with inflation, and other stuff that's gone on, more taxes, more regulation, only stifles business. It only cuts back on the production that we should have. And look, we've gone through this before. This is not anything new. what happened in the 80s when we were going through some of this stuff, high interest rates, inflation issues, and what was the best way to get out of it? Cut taxes, cut regulations, and revive our economy. It works. And yet we keep getting away from this for some reason, and it's that human nature thing that we've talked about a million times. We don't seem to learn from our lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get out of the way. Let the markets and the free markets work themselves out.
Let the people build, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So, what is it? Elections in less than a month now?
Yeah. 33 days.
I was going to say 34, but you're probably right.
Time of recording, 33 days.
Yeah.
And we have early voting going on right now, too.
What are your thoughts on that?
Get out, do it. Things can come up. Things happen. I had a friend, good friend, supporter, and I talked to him after advancing in the primary and said, hey, thanks for your support, for your vote. He could have just said, yeah, sure, great. You're welcome. But he said, oh, I didn't get out. I was with my mom at appointments all day.
Yeah.
Okay. Understandable. But things happen. Appointments happen. So early voting takes that away.
Yeah, then I believe October 18th, you can walk into the courthouse and just hand your ballot in. So if you're worried about ballot security, you walk right up to the courthouse October 18th till November 5th, you're good to go.
Feed it right into the machine. Yep.
And I think, like in our area, we voted early. So I voted, the 20th was the first day of early voting.
Yeah.
We went in, ran through the process, talked with the staff up at the courthouse, asked them how everything worked. In our area, I feel secure because I also know half of the staff up at the courthouse. So would you suspect some ill intent from neighbors, from people that you know? Probably not.
Well, that comes
benefit.
from the small town environment.
Absolutely, but I think that's a benefit of getting to know those people.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's easy to villainize somebody, but once you know who they are, it's a little bit harder to do it. But I'm actually really in favor of the early voting. It makes a lot of sense because life is so hectic for a lot of people. The snowbirds.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
The people that take off to go for winter. Granted, right now our season has been pretty favorable, but as soon as the temperature starts dropping, we have people that leave. And if they didn't drop their ballot before they left, they're probably not going to vote.
Yep.
So go in and vote and make sure that your vote is counted. Because it's not just it's more than a responsibility. I feel it's a duty.
Yep.
I really do.
And one thing here, faith is very important to me. Christ follower, freedom lover. But Christian folks, we're not the greatest at getting out to vote. I've heard 1 in 3 vote. And so, that's ridiculous. Who do you want to shape, everything from local on up to, national, presidential? Who do you want to shape things? People that have and share your value and think, okay, Jesus is important. I'm not talking about preaching from the city council bench. People will be able to look and see and know that there's something different just because it will be evident. But who do you want to have? Somebody that shares those values or somebody that thinks that God is irrelevant?
Yeah. So I guess the way I look at it is if you don't vote your values, you're going to end up being ruled by somebody who does.
Yep.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to say roughly that the Democrats aren't Christian. Because there's a rise in atheism, there's a rise in Islam, other religions, not Christian. And not the Christian values the way that we see them. And if we let them just vote their way, and we will lose ours. Because was it last year? How was the sentiment towards Christianity in St. Paul?
I have to say that the last day of session was an eye-opener for me.
Yeah.
And you were down that
I was
day.
down, yeah.
We did a podcast the last day of session. I didn't go.
Yep.
I did not go because Sunday,
Because
I feel, is the Lord's Day. Keep holy the Lord's Day. We discussed a bill until 5 o'clock Sunday morning.
Yep.
And it's been common practice in the House that we didn't start session, the last day of session on a Sunday, until 2, 3 in the afternoon, so that everybody had a chance to go and practice their faith as they saw fit.
Yep.
We got done at 5, after 5 in the morning, and we were told we were going to reconvene at 9 o'clock. And I said, no, I'm not. You are going to crush our opportunity to practice our faith, to go to church. No, that was the biggest slap in the face of any Christian out there, I feel. And it basically got no attention.
Yep.
But I said, I will not. And the whole system to me, because the Democrats actually did a pretty good job, I felt, of respecting other religions.
Yep.
We took time off for Ramadan. We took time off for Passover. And yet when it came to the last Sunday, they totally insulted
They spat on your values.
religious beliefs.
Yep.
And that week, we had session Monday. We didn't have session Tuesday.
Yep.
Had session Wednesday, nothing Thursday. So if they had simply scheduled things effectively, we wouldn't have had it been there Sunday at all.
Yep.
But that was a terrible thing. And I see that as a huge insult. And I believe it's 70+% of Minnesota considers themselves Christians.
Yep.
So when we don't turn out to vote, and you hear this in politics all the time, that you can't legislate your morals. And basically what you're saying is, if you don't legislate your morals, someone else will.
Yep. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use the Democrats as an example because they do. We see this over and over. They spit on Christian values. And I don't have too many examples on the top of my head other than a couple of years ago when there was that shooting at a church in New Zealand, and they called them Easter worshipers and not Christians.
Oh,
Yeah. Hillary, that was, I think that was 2016, and Hillary Clinton said that. So,
well, we're just a basket of deplorables anyways.
yeah, fair enough. But again, I guess, yeah, if you don't vote your values, if you don't legislate your morals, somebody else will, and it will not be to your liking. So go out and vote your values.
So the emphasis really on this is get out and vote.
Yeah, pretty much.
Simply get out and vote. Find out who that candidate is. And it starts with school boards, county commissioners, your supervisors, township supervisors, city council in St. Cloud or wherever you live. Get to know your candidates. Spend a little bit of time and, look up candidates like Scott. Hopefully we can get the code on the back. Maybe take a snapshot of it. Ask them some questions. Go talk to them. Figure out who they are so that you make an educated decision. And when you go and vote, you feel confident in whose name you're checking out. I had a question this week about if I would endorse a certain candidate. And I said, I can't. And I was asked why. And I said, because I have yet to talk to the other candidate in that race.
Yep.
I don't know them. So I've reached out and to make an educated decision or an endorsement, I have to know both sides.
Yep.
So when you're going to go out and vote, make sure you know who you're voting for. Make sure you give Scott a call. Look up his stuff on Facebook and figure out who these people are because they're representing you.
Yep.
And,
Make a good decision.
and this, we'll figure out how to get it up. That's my real phone number. I'm a normal guy. I'm approachable. And I'll talk about anything. I'll listen. I'll find out what's important to you. I don't just have my ideas and think that I'm going to be the savior of the city because everything I have and think is wonderful. No, I mean, just what?
I'm a little bit shocked. I mean, you're getting involved in politics. You need to be an expert and you need to tell it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's what we hear so often, and it's refreshing to see and hear somebody that's saying, look, I'm an ordinary guy. I think that's great. It's commendable. I'll shut up and let you finish because it's something we don't hear enough of nowadays. That a little bit of humility. I think that's great.
Yeah, that's, there's, there's nothing that separates me from the next person. Just I do care. I genuinely care about people. This might sound cliche, but I have a servant's heart, and I love helping and serving others. Whether it's mowing, we have a neighbor who they have the house, but they haven't been there all summer. They haven't been able to move in. They're still working on it, and I've mowed their lawn and help people move.
Yeah.
Most people don't like helping people move, but I do. So I'm genuinely looking forward to helping the city, helping the people, because government is the people. We're not supposed to fear the government at all levels. The government is supposed to fear the people because it is the people. And just a normal guy, that's who's supposed to be in government. Somebody that you can talk to, voice your opinions to, that listens to you. So,
Right. Of the people, by the people, and for the people.
yep.
It's the way this was set up. It's not based on aristocracy
Yep.
or who has the most money. It's supposed to be based on who's best going to serve the people.
And
Correct.
And if I ever have to move, now I know who to call.
yeah, there we go. And I hope we don't get back to the same type of crackdowns and BS that happened with COVID, but I wouldn't be surprised to see something similar that they try to roll out and try to say, do this, mask up, close businesses, do the thing. I will stand firm and say no. And city council is a nonpartisan office. So, we have our values, and I will bring mine to my decisions. But if something is good, I can vote yes. If something sucks, I can vote no. And I don't have to worry about going into a committee office and having somebody ream me out because I didn't follow, what was supposed to happen. Like if it hinders our law enforcement, nope, I'm voting no. If it raises our taxes, I'm voting no. If something tries to strip away our freedoms or even dilute our freedoms, because that's a step too. Like see what they can pull, what we'll allow. I'll say no, heck no, we're not. You're not closing businesses. You're not making us wear a mask. If you want to wear a mask, I still see people driving alone in their cars wearing masks. And I look for a bumper sticker that on the back that that we would all notice.
Right.
But yeah, so just a normal guy.
That's great to hear. That's exactly what. Look at our founding fathers. They were not all lawyers. They weren't all rich people.
And young.
And very young. Exactly. And we've gotten away from that. We've set this sort of standard where you have to have whatever it is, the most money, or have had to go to the best colleges, or whatever it is. But I see that common man, common sense, where you can apply that to your legislation or your elected position, and it seems to work so much better than some of the college educated that I've seen, because they can apply it to real life.
Yeah.
I think is the best thing. So it's great. What other issues? Other big things in St. Cloud?
Here's a couple. So, and this isn't a city council thing, but for anybody in St. Cloud, we have two special things that are going to be on the ballot. One is looking for adding a new fire station. And so I had somebody ask me today, the guy from the paper that called the interview, heard me talk about wanting to keep taxes down. So he may have seen it as a gotcha moment, maybe not. But he said, what do you think about the new Fire Station 6? It would raise taxes, so what I said is, I love that it's on the ballot and left up to the voters to decide, because it's necessary. The fire department needs it. the community needs it right now. The closest station is not close enough. If you have fires,
Yeah, I need that fast response
Yes.
time. Yeah.
and it will. So the numbers that I heard, actually, the mayor told me, we had coffee a little while ago, and he said it's about $9 a month for the average taxpayer. I think that most of us waste $9 on other things. I know I do, but also your insurance is going to go down because you have closer.
Oh,
Yeah, and it will probably be a wash, but it's necessary. So, but I love that it's up to the people,
Yeah.
and so they can say if they want it or not. And the other one is the county is moving the jail and the courthouse and the legal stuff. They're moving it from downtown to somewhere else. And it's
really?
yeah.
Why
and
are they
it's-
moving it from downtown?
Well,
I'm just curious.
they've given a bunch of reasons. Some is the old age of the jail. It would cost more to renovate than to actually build new. And I've heard Representative Bernie Perryman give a good explanation of that too. And I know her, believe her, trust her.
Yeah.
And so it's not a question of do we want this to happen? This is happening. So the voting on the ballot is how do we pay for it? And they word it in a way that says, do you want to approve of a 0.3% sales tax increase? Yes or no? There's more to it, but that's the gist of it. If you say no, it's falling squarely on the shoulders of the homeowners because it'll be a property tax increase. So basically we're saying, as the homeowners here, do you want some other people that come from out of the city who
Yeah.
come in and shop? Do you want them to help pay or do you want to pay for it all yourself? So
That's kind of sneaky, isn't it?
it is sneaky. I don't know why they care. They're getting their money no matter what, but I'm definitely voting yes on the sales tax increase.
I wonder if the return is bigger on one versus another.
Yeah. You
You know,
might.
if your sales tax would pay for it sooner. I don't know for
Well,
sure.
sales tax would require people spending money in St. Cloud.
Right.
And if your business in St. Cloud are kind of shuttering already, that would drive people to shop elsewhere. So,
But it's
Potentially,
yeah. Just
But
trying
no,
to
if
weigh
you're-
the pros and the cons here.
right?
I think the sales tax idea is better because people do shop in St. Cloud regardless. It's still a kind of a neat place to go every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that it's better than hanging out in downtown Minneapolis.
that is true.
For sure. Yeah. So where would they move it to?
They have a few locations. I heard the other day, and it's I won't name names, but it seemed like credible sources that they're looking down by 94 and kind of the mixed stop area off of 94 and 75. That's what I heard.
Okay.
So the other thing that I could think of is, especially downtown where you have the convention center, you've got some of the eateries, things like that. If you freed up space where the courthouse and where some of that is, that would have a lot of value to maybe some type of developer. Potentially,
Potentially.
you know. And if you're going to move out towards St. Augusta, I would imagine square footage or the price per square foot is going to be a lot cheaper down there. So I could see some benefits to it. Accessibility, because of the roads right downtown, versus, yeah, there could be some pros and cons there, but definitely say this. Bernie Perryman.
Yeah.
Bernie's awesome.
Vote Bernie, vote Scott Root.
That's right.
So is there any closing things you guys want to say?
Well, when you brought up a special thing like that, it made me think of something that is on the ballot,
Oh yeah?
and everybody should be aware of this. And it's the water. And I wish I had it here with me.
Yes.
Yes or no on that legacy water, the clean water stuff.
Okay.
It sounds good. Okay, so that was a constitutional amendment. I think it's a 0.5% sales tax across the state that pays for clean water and so forth, right? And that special thing on the ballot says vote yes or no. A yes vote would actually take this out of the legislators' hands.
Okay.
Because right now the legislators have to decide how this money is being spent.
Yeah.
If you vote no on this, that would keep it into the legislators' hands and how the money is being spent. Do we want another bureaucracy deciding where that money is going?
Oh, so this vote for clean water.
It's really kind of deceptive
it
the
is.
way it's.
So it's built. This is my first time hearing about this. This is establishing another bureaucracy to manage your water supply.
No. That clean water legacy, and we'll have to talk about
Yeah,
this next
we'll
week.
dedicate. Yeah, we'll do something.
We're going to have to dig into it just to let people know, but how it's being distributed would change.
Okay.
So the money would still be collected, but right now, your legislators decide where that money goes.
Control it.
Yep.
If this changes, then a bureaucracy would decide where that money goes. Then you would have no control over it.
Yep.
And right now, the way some of that money is being spent, I question it already.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't sold this way. It was sold on clean water, but I think only about a third of this, and I'll have to dig into this more to get you the correct numbers, but only about a third of it is really going into clean water.
That sounds right.
Third of it's water, third of it's legacy, and third of it is something else. If I remember correctly.
I believe that just based on the track record of government spending in the past 2 years. Yeah.
Right. So it's sold as this premise that we're going to clean up lakes, rivers, drinking water, whatever. And when it comes right down to it, it's getting spent on a whole lot of things
Yep.
that maybe people would be upset about if they really knew.
Yeah.
So I'll dig
Yeah,
into that
we'll
one.
dive into it next week.
I read that one. I don't remember all the specifics. I'll look forward to when you dive into it. But we went through it at a group meeting that I was in, and it sounds good. Like who wouldn't want clean water? Who wouldn't want this? But it's hogwash. They're trying to sell you a bill of goods because it's like you said, who's going to control this money?
That's right.
And nope. So yes, before they put the fire station one on, we were talking to people and we were saying, so vote no for the one that environment one, and vote yes for the one that seems like, oh, why do we want to raise sales tax?
Yeah.
So that's what we were saying.
So don't trust the government right now. That's what I'm hearing.
Read them, and what seems logical, then do the opposite.
Yeah.
So,
Anywho,
Well, that's great. Thanks for visiting with us today, Scott. It's been a good conversation. Best of luck in your campaign. These things can be a little bit hectic and nerve-wracking, so
yeah.
we always wish people the best and let the chips fall where they may.
Well, thanks for having me. It has been exhausting, but it's been good. It's been positive. But I certainly am looking forward to November 6th.
yeah, right.
Have a night of not worrying about campaigning or anything whatsoever.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks
I
so much for
remember
coming on. So everyone,
Thanks a
this
lot.
is Scott Brodeen running for St. Cloud City Council. I'm Drew, your host, and Mike, your other host. We're at 12 Mile Tavern in Little Falls,
Outside of Swanville.
outside of Swanville.
Swanville, it's rural, but
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere, great place.
Great
Check it
bar.
out. But thank you guys so much for watching. This is Pints and Politics. God bless.